The dark night of the soul is probably one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult thing that you will go through in your life. And I've been thinking about recording an episode about the definitions related to the dark night of the soul, because I think that different people define this phenomenon or this experience in different ways. But I just need a little more time before I record it. But for me, well, the dark night of the soul escaped all definitions, I guess. But basically, the things that used to work in my previous life, so to speak, the strategies that I found successful really stopped working. So just to give you an idea, in the past, if I did A, I could expect that B would work, or maybe C, or maybe D, or maybe even K, I don't know. Whereas, in the last 2 to 3 years, it hasn't really worked. And it's been so scary because I had no idea what was going on, and I had a feeling as if I was encountering brick walls time and time again. And I remember that sometimes when you're into self-development, and basically if you're into, I don't know, manifestation, I think that's the word, I'm just using it because I've seen it many times in many different materials, but basically I think that there is this exercise like, oh, describe your perfect day. What would you do? Who would you be with? What would you be wearing? And things like that. And basically, it's a very good exercise. I think that I did it a few times in my life, or maybe less than that. But anyway, I did it. And interestingly, one of the conclusions that I can now come up with after being in the dark night of the soul for about 2 to 3 years, for me, it's now about focusing not on my perfect day, but on my Groundhog Day. And you know why? I'm sure that some of you have watched the film The Groundhog Day. So basically, what was his name? Phil Connors? I don't remember, but basically, he was every time he would wake up, he heard the same tune, like the alarm clock, and the day was the same. Well, basically, it's a metaphor for, I think, adult life, but he couldn't really get out of it, and it just happened in his life. Groundhog Day, he wakes up again. Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day. He sees the same people, he sees the same groundhog, and basically he just can't get out of it. He's trying to commit, he's trying to do the worst things, basically just to disappear from this planet, to disappear from this earth, and he can't do it. He still wakes up. And I've seen this film a few times. I also watched it when I was younger. I think even as a kid. But basically, of course, I didn't understand it the way I understand it, today. But when I watched it, I was like, that's the dark night of the soul. That really is the dark night of the soul. And I think that if you watch this film with an open mind and with an open heart, basically it sort of gives you a solution to this. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but incorporating it into your actual experience is not that easy, because just going back to this thing about the perfect day, at some point I realized it's not about writing about my perfect day, about my imaginary perfect day, at least not at this moment, but it's about making my Groundhog Day into a better day, into a perfect day. It's about making my Groundhog Day into this perfect day, because I've tried many different things, and I'm not saying that I'm unable to function and so on, because basically I'm doing okay in a way, but it's not really okay on the inside, because I have a feeling that a lot of things that I used to believe in, a lot of things that I used to find normal, I just don't find them normal anymore. And I think that we live in a strange world, and all those beliefs and all those rules that I used to regard as normal, for me, it just doesn't make sense anymore. And I think that the way the world works is upside down, and the recent changes, like in politics, AI, and in many different areas, basically they show us that something is fundamentally wrong. Actually, it was always like that, but they used to, conceal it in a better way, I guess. And now it's very difficult, to deny that something has gone very, very wrong. And some of us may also feel it on a personal level, just like, it happened to me. So when the dark night of the soul just decided, this archetype, this phenomenon decided to introduce him or herself or themselves to me. Okay, but anyway, but what I wanted to say, there are many different definitions, but in this episode, I would like to summarize it in this way. I think it both summarizes the dark night of the soul as I understand it, and the solution, to the dark night of the soul, although I believe that there is no solution to that. Basically, whatever put you in this position, that thing, that force, that something has to take you out. It doesn't mean that there is nothing that you can do just to make your existence better on this planet while you're going through that. And I think it's extremely important to live in dignity and in faith and hope, really. But yeah, just to summarize it, I believe that the dark night of the soul is about making your Groundhog Day perfect. Full stop. And your Groundhog Day is something that put you into this. Maybe I could define it in a different way, but basically the Groundhog Day and the dark night of the soul, I believe, are related. And I encourage you, just watch that film, watch the Groundhog Day, and just see how it unfolds. Because at the end of the film, when the main character, Phil Connors, finally falls in love with his Groundhog Day, and he loves every single bit of it. He's a master at it. He learns how to play the piano, as far as I remember. He does so many beautiful things. When that happens, suddenly he wakes up, and it's not the 2nd of February anymore. I think that was the date, right? The 2nd of February. So it wasn't the 2nd of February anymore. How cool is that? And yes. So that's the solution. And again, that doesn't mean that you will fix it in a day or two, because it took many days. It took Phil many days. But at the same time, everybody is different. So I'm not saying that, it will take years. For some people, it will be so. But it's so individual. There are no recipes. There are no 5-step processes. And yeah. But yeah, I wish you all the best, and please, if you feel that every single day is a Groundhog Day for you, just try to make it perfect. Just work with what you have, and don't expect that the next Groundhog Day will be 100% perfect, but when you do it a bit more perfect every single day, who knows what you will wake up to. Okay, guys, that's it. If you want to, feel free to share your experience about the dark night of the soul, if you know this experience and what helped you, because I think that it means a lot if we can share our experiences. It doesn't necessarily fix everything, or even there are no solutions probably, but I think it helps a lot when we can find somebody or some experience that we can relate to. Okay, guys, anyway, make your Groundhog Day perfect, and that's it. Thank you very much, and until next time.